Welcome to Transition Talks Tuesdays. My name, wow, that was just sort of all sorts of mumble tonight. Welcome to Transition Talks Tuesdays. My name's Tim Markle. I'm director of the Youth Health Transition Initiative and project outreach manager for the Children's Resource Center South. We are doing Transition Talks Tuesdays in the winter spring of 2024 in partnership with Columbus School District Transition Program. And with us tonight is Julia from that program. And not only is she with us from Columbus Transition Program, but she's also going to talk tonight. So, Julia, go ahead, take it over. Let me know when you need the slides moved.
Okay, can you give me a full screen on those slides, please, Tim? There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome everyone to this presentation, which is unique to Transition Talks. I wanted to do a Columbus employer and partner panel. I thought it was very interesting and very relevant and unique to our district that we have so many community partnerships, especially for a rural community. I wanted to highlight all of the wonderful partnerships that we have in the Columbus community with the transition program. And I am so fortunate to have two of those partnerships live tonight, and then two we have pre-recorded for you as well. So Tim, if you would like to go to the next slide, I will explain a little bit about what I do. So our agenda is we're going to talk about me and our transition program, then hear from our employers and our partners, and then of course have time for questions at the end. So to begin, our program. So the mission of our program, we are a school affiliated program. So as you know, students with IEPs can receive services through 21 years of age. And so after graduating the high school, they have an opportunity to come to the transition program if it is an IEP team decision and if we believe that it is an appropriate place for them. So our students focus on various independent living, community and employment skills. And our students are adults, so they learn how to be an adult, which sometimes I'm thinking I'm still learning on how to do. But I love to see them learn and grow in a more authentic environment, which brings us to what our house is in Columbus. So we also have a unique experience here because a lot of transition programs are run right out of the high school. We actually have a cute little craftsman style house in a neighborhood near the elementary and middle school, where we get to practice daily living in an actual house setting. We believe that that's more important, more relevant. And so the students are actually able to practice those skills in an authentic environment. We think and we hope that those skills will generalize to when they are living on their own or with others in a home setting. So again, goals of our program are to create individual, independent, successful adult citizens, and that revolves around daily living, independent living, employment, and community connection. So my role as the transition coordinator, I do a lot with employment. So I work with students at the high school 14 to 21 years old, and I work on their post-secondary transition plans. And in those plans, I work with their special education teachers to determine what these students want to do when they're out of high school, making sure that we are focusing on what classes are relevant to their future career, getting them any volunteer or job shadow experiences, and getting them set up with the correct community and statewide partnerships like the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, like we learned last week, the Adult Aging and Disability Resource Center, long-term care supports, all of those things to make sure that each individual is successful in their own way. So at the program, I help students identify their strengths, their preferences, their needs, and most importantly, their interests, so that we don't just place students in a job to have a job, but that we place students in places where they feel comfortable, motivated, happy. We hopefully are all working in jobs that we enjoy doing. And so I think that that's important for this population as well. So I do work with DVR, and I also work with the community at large to provide these students these opportunities. And so I have been so fortunate to work with the community of Columbus, which has been just absolutely embraced our program. And I do a lot of cold calling. So I do a lot of, hey, my student really likes plants. You're a greenhouse. Do you have any room for a volunteer or for a job shadow? And if so, how can we work together? And so that's actually how I got to start working with Matt, the general manager from Culver's, who's going to speak with us shortly. How I learned how to be a partner with all of the people that are going to speak tonight. So on the next slide, Tim, I have three areas that I focus on, like I've gone over, but volunteering. So volunteering is the start of the employment journey. So students learn valuable soft work skills. So teamwork, communication, punctuality, those skills. So those skills that are essential to any job, no matter what you're doing. Then we get a little bit more specific. So now that a student has volunteered in a couple different places, perhaps they want to become more interested in a specific area. So that would become a job shadow. So shadowing is where students can explore places of interest and learn in the actual field. So we're gonna have Kristen Christian from the Columbus Countryside Veterinary Clinic talk a little bit about the job shadow experience that she provided one of our students. And then ultimately, employment is the ultimate goal. We want our students, we want our young adults to have paid competitive employment. I don't believe that it just begins there with all students. Some students need to begin at volunteering and job shadowing to really find out what they want to do before they can become independent and as a paid employee. So tonight, on the next slide, you are going to be hearing from various employers and partners. We have a history of 25 total partners and employers in the Columbus and the surrounding area. So in the next slide, I'm going to introduce you to our first panel speaker. Matt from Culver's is the general manager here in Columbus. He currently doesn't work with us. Currently, we don't have a student that's in our program that works for him, but we have a student that exited our program that works for him now. So I am going to have Matt speak on his experiences with employing people with disabilities. So please welcome Matt.
Can you guys hear me now? Hi
Yes,
there,
I
can you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, not used to Zoom here. Hi, I'm Matt Gardner. I'm from the Columbus Culver's there, general manager. Yeah, I've worked with this program before, and like she said, had an individual. Also, we did work with the DVR program as well. Kind of like she said, for or for the volunteer job shadowing. Mainly exactly like she said, to see if they can do that kind of work and if that's what they want to pursue in. So that's definitely, you know, I completely agree with that. Um, but I've been with Culver's for myself for 17 years. So I mean, I definitely enjoy my job, just like she was talking about before as well. Hopefully we can get them a good experience and, let them enjoy their job. So um, we
Mm-hmm.
do obviously, have competitive wages, once the one employee that she's talking about, she's now um part-time, but every week, every week she's on the schedule. So definitely, giving her some hours. So, uh the progression, just like watching them progress. I mean, it's they learn time management there. I mean, being able, like, I don't let them leave until the dining room is clean, obviously after the rush. So they learn time management for, if I want to leave on time, make sure that my stuff is done. You learn simple things for at home that you should be helping out with, like dishes, trash. I mean, just picking up, cleaning. I mean, multiple things. There's the responsibility aspect too, of just like making sure, like, you know, expectations. Um, Also teamwork, because one person can't do it all. So, and teamwork isn't everywhere. So these are just skills that we can just all teach. I feel, you know, that are very adequate for daily life. So,
So
people skills.
Matt, I had a question about what kind of accommodations have you and your staff had to make that have been crucial in the success of that individual's employment?
Yeah, so I showed Kira myself, like dining room, and I personally took, so that way I knew that it was proper training. So proper training, I think, is obviously, key, because if you want someone to do the job, you got to make sure it's done right, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as like any, if there's any things that I have to bring up with her, I pull her in the office and we talk, and she knows to focus on it. And then there has been an instance where like I have to talk to the parents, because obviously how I'm saying it is like doesn't quite get through certain ways, but the
Sure.
parents obviously know how. So once in a while, I have to bring in a parent.
Okay.
But then it just seems, I mean, everything's is works itself out. Um, so
And
as far as like,
from what I've seen, your team really has embraced this individual and has served as mentors as well. And I know that, this person cannot work the cash register, but in
yep,
particular, their job is to run food. And so they've really learned a lot of customer interaction that way.
yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you now, it's back to like the people skills. Like they may not know the register, but when a guest walks in and no one's there, they know, be like, hey, we need someone on register, please. Like
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
communication skills. I mean, yeah, there's multiple things that they can learn here. And as far as I would say that the proper training, that goes everywhere, not just, with disabilities or without that, if you want people to do the job adequately, you want them to, learn the way it should be done properly. So,
And I know when she
but
had a job coach, they were doing like visual lists for a while, just kind of
yep,
remote, like rote tasking.
checklists, exactly. It's things like that, exactly. That's anything for visual aid, exactly. Making sure for like there's different colored towels for things, so like things to remember for
Sure.
that, and different mop heads to use, because you don't want the greasy ones for the kitchen to be used out front and stuff. All the little fine details that
Mhm.
um you know you got to make visual aids, obviously. And again, it's for everybody, it's for everyone,
Yeah.
because it's, communication, all of it is round and round, especially in the restaurant business. Like, I don't know 100% what other kind of businesses are, you're working with. Sounds like the vet there. So definitely totally different, type of business. So,
Mhm.
um,
Well, and I
but
like what
yeah,
you
no,
said. I like what you said when you said that those visual task lists and those things benefit everyone on your staff because
yeah,
everyone can use
exactly.
reminders. So that's really helpful to hear because it's not
Yeah.
just for individuals with disabilities, it's for everyone to benefit
Yeah,
from.
anyone new doesn't know what's going on. There's a lot of stuff,
Mhm.
Um, so, but yeah, it's nice to see the progression. Like I said, the communication, like, hey, we need someone on the register, knowing that they can't do the register. So, it definitely is very helpful.
That's
Um,
great.
so yeah,
So Matt,
definitely
what would
pleased
you
to have
say?
them.
Yeah. And what would you say to a business that was hesitant to hire someone with a disability? What
Oh, I
what
would
would your
say you don't
advice
really know
be?
their capabilities unless you give them a try, you know.
Perfect. Love that.
Yeah, that's simple as that.
Yeah. I love that, Matt. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Does anyone have
absolutely.
any specific questions for Matt about employing individuals with disabilities, about his specific experiences, or anything else that he could share with us? Doesn't have a lot of time because we have a couple people, but um, anybody have any questions?
Feel free to unmute and we'll call on you or put your question in the chat, and we'll be sure that we can relay it.
Not hearing any. So, Matt, I just want to say thank you so much for not only your time tonight, but your contribution to the community of Columbus. You have hired so many young people, and so many young people work at Culver's, and a lot of them have a really good first experience at a job. So I really appreciate everything you do. And I do see a question. Kasha says, what if I have a child that'd be a good fit here? I would say to reach out
Yeah.
directly to Matt, right?
Yeah, apply. We have like applications. Feel free to apply right online as well. Right over the internet, or in the store we have all the stickers on the, if you get a order, like food order to go, those stickers have QR codes that you can apply right online, and we can just go right through the hiring process. Or if you're, again, if through DVR,
Yeah.
anything like that, I don't know if there's like a program or not, but exactly, we can definitely get them on
So,
the crew. So
and Kasha, if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, let's connect, because I can definitely help your son with those job skills. So
yeah,
you and I will connect with this, because I think that he would be wonderful there as well. Definitely giving food orders, I think. Yep.
yeah,
All right, awesome.
we had one young lad also doing the dining room and stuff, things for helping morning. So between just vacuuming, wiping tables, doing window, again, simple things like at home, again, like things that should help,
Yeah,
your daily life, unless you
for
want to live in
sure.
a pigsty.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I just really appreciate you helping young people, regardless of ability, get some really solid employment. So thank you for your time tonight, Matt. You are
Yeah,
free
absolutely.
to head out. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And yeah, you guys have a good night, okay? I got some
thank
things I
you.
gotta do with the sun now, so I will end up
Absolutely.
heading out here, but you
Go
guys
be
have
a
a great
dad,
night,
Matt.
okay?
Thank you, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that was our first panel. That was Matt, and he took time out of his night to do that for us, which was awesome, because this is the dinner rush at Culver's. So that was one of our paid employers. So like he said, he is willing to work with a variety of different people. So if you'd like information on how to connect, please reach out to me, and I'd be happy to give you his information. The next person that we're going to hear from is Brian from Cardinal Embroidery. Brian is actually pre-recorded, so we won't actually be able to interact with him, but you'll be able to watch our interview with him and see that I was just smiling ear to ear the whole time, because I loved everything that he was saying about our students and about our partnership. But Brian owns a business in Columbus called Cardinal Embroidery, and it is a screen printing business. So he does all the sports teams, all of that. All of their swag. And so he owns quite the business here, and it's very, very popular place. So having him as a partner has been crucial. So please enjoy this video of Brian explaining how he partners with our program and the benefits that he has seen as such.
So hi, my name is Brian Anderson. I own Cardinal Embroidery and Screen Printing in Columbus, Wisconsin, and we are part of the transition program. We have two young ladies who come in once a week to help us out here, and I'm here to speak a little bit about that today. So anyway, when they come in, some of the tasks and things that the girls are asked to do would be clipping and cleaning of embroidery items,
Can you guys see the video? I couldn't see the video.
I can't.
No, we could not.
Day two.
Beautiful. Yes.
So hi, my name is Brian Anderson. I own Cardinal Embroidery and Screen Printing in Columbus, Wisconsin, and we are part of the transition program. We have two young ladies who come in once a week to help us out here, and I'm here to speak a little bit about that today. So anyway, when they come in, some of the tasks and things that the girls are asked to do would be clipping and cleaning of embroidery items, cleaning the store, straightening up the store, maybe putting new products on hangers, folding, pricing new products, maybe taking down a window and putting up new displays. And actually a big part of what we do a lot of the time, and it might get to be boring for the girls because they do this a lot, but we have direct to film printing. So basically it's logos that get printed on a huge sheet of film that we use weekly for businesses and sports alike. And a lot of times we'll leave those rolls and the girls will come in and cut those up for us, cut off the registration parts that we don't need and cut the logos out individually and put them where they need to go. So those are some of the main tasks that they do when they're here with us. Some of the skills I think that that they develop here working for us would be independence, of course, assertiveness. I think that's a big one. I can touch on that a little bit more later. Asking of questions, time management skills, following directions. And because we have two young ladies that come in together, you know, working together is a big part of that too. And sometimes, you know, I've seen, especially as we've gotten into it more, I think this is our second year. If we have a couple of things that day and we don't necessarily write down a list all the time. We'll just kind of tell them this is what we're going to be doing today. A lot of times they'll kind of divide that up and conquer based on what they prefer to do or maybe what they're better at, which is kind of a neat thing to see happening. What else can I tell you here? Excuse me, I'll look at my notes a little bit. So as far as businesses getting involved in it, one thing I could tell them is, so when we first got involved, how do I say this? I thought of it maybe more of just a nice thing to do, but you soon learn that it's much more than that. I mean, it's rewarding to see them grow and see them take on new tasks. And now we're to a point, these ladies come in on their own. And when they see what we're going to do, it's not so much of an explanation and walking them through everything. They already know what to do. And they gather the materials and get ready. And so it's actually a benefit to us now because we can actually, you know, get a project done with little oversight, really. And I mean, at this point, you know, if the work is there and everything, I wouldn't hesitate, you know, looking to hire somebody like this in a part-time position to do some of the same things that they're doing now. Some of the examples of how the girls have grown since they've been working with us. So one young lady wouldn't advocate for herself, I'll say, maybe as much. She would need to be cued to, hey, maybe would this help you? Hey, would you like to do it this way? Do you need a chair? And then she began asking for those things herself. Now she just simply comes in and goes and gets what she needs and gets to work. So that's kind of nice there. We had another individual who would stop to talk, which is fine, but then not do any of the tasks or work while she was talking. And Stacy had pointed out to me actually as early as just a few weeks ago that is so much better now. She can have a conversation with you and tell you what she did over the weekend while she continues to do what she's doing. Might be because they're becoming more familiar with the tasks and with us. But I mean, that's all part of it. You know, when we all start out new jobs, we have to learn things and get better at the things we do as well. And I talked a little bit about the division of tasks already. That's another thing I had noted here. when they come in, one individual might like cutting out the color drop, we call it. That's those logos on the film versus straightening up the store. So they might divide it up that way and work and help each other that way. So that's kind of a nice thing to see as well. So that's kind of my summary about what the girls come in and do for us and how it's helped us. And do you have any questions?
Well,
That was awesome.
Julia, if I could insert, I would love to hear a little bit about how you got hooked up with Brian and how this works with the transition program at the high school.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Brian, that was wonderful. I was smiling ear to ear as everybody could see. I might even gotten a little tear in my eye because it was just nice to hear all of the wonderful things and the growth that the two individuals that work with you have demonstrated. And that is, you know, due to the collaboration that we have together. So we have, you know, we do check-ins with Brian. We say, you know, what can the individuals work on? How can they improve? We have a work evaluation sheet that comes out each quarter. But Tim, to your question, how we got involved is I looked at all the businesses in Columbus and I knew Brian just because he is the main embroidery person here, and he makes all of our shirts and other swag for our district. And so I thought maybe he'd have something for my students to do that would help, you know, improve their employment skills, but also teach them new tasks. And so I just called him and I just said, what do you think about this? And here's how I will support you. And so at the beginning, I would come in and talk with Brian and Stacy about what kinds of things the students could do, what kinds of things we expected for them to do. And then they did come in with a job coach at the beginning throughout most of last year. And then when Brian and Stacy felt comfortable enough as to take over as employers, they did. And so now they direct the two women that work there, and it's great. It has really evolved, as Brian had mentioned, into a partnership. And I really liked how you said at first, I thought it was just a nice thing to do. I think that that's a lot of what we see when working with individuals with disabilities is that feel good aspect. And sure, that's there, right? But I really like that you said it's grown into more of a mutual benefit and a partnership where they actually benefit the business. And that is where we want to be, is we want individuals with disabilities to have competitive employment, to be able to do tasks that other people can do, with obviously consideration of their specific needs. So I think that if anybody else is watching this who would be leery of contacting a business about something like this, I would encourage you to, I didn't actually go into the business because I knew Brian by just giving him a call, but going in, explaining your program, explaining, you know, the benefits of this, showing them this segment once it's all recorded, and understanding that it starts small, and really helping that business owner to guide them in the way that they can, you know, do any accommodations or modifications for the students to be successful.
I think too, I'd interject too that it was a learning curve for us as well. You know, when they first come in, it's like, okay, what can we have them do to keep them busy? But then, you know, they are trying to learn skills for an actual job or to go out and do things like that in the community. So you do need to tell them, you know, when they're not doing something maybe correct, and not be afraid to treat them like you would an actual employee, basically.
Yes, that's a perfect point too. And I cannot emphasize that enough, is that we really focus on letting Brian and other business owners know that they are your employees, whether they're paid or not, please treat them as such. And so by not telling them what they could do better, or by being gentle, or, you know, I guess I shouldn't say being gentle. I would want you to be gentle, but by not being direct, we're not helping anyone grow. And so these individuals need that support from people other than me, because I start to sound like Charlie Brown's teacher after a while. And, you know, it makes more of an impact from Brian and Stacy, who they love and adore and respect and want to do well by. So thank you for that point, because that is totally what our goal is for employers to really treat them as if they're part of the team.
Yep. And it could be something as simple as at the end of their time when things need to be cleaned up or kind of put back. If they're not, it'd be easy to just ignore that and be like, well, I'll just get that when they go. But then they're not learning anything. And so, yeah, things like that.
Exactly. Yep. I love it. Tim, can you think of anything else that we're missing from our interview?
No, this sounds like a fantastic partnership. So
really
thank you
is.
both, and I will do my best to edit my little ending out here. But did you want to, if I get good on my editing skill? I think we determined y'all were good.
Yeah.
And we could
Yeah.
tell my editing skills sucked. So I did not quite get around to it.
That's okay.
So,
That's
and
okay.
obviously. So let's just continue on, Julia. And
Yeah.
we'll give Tim
So
a grace.
I spoke a long time on there, and I'm a little embarrassed. I'm like, wow, Julia, you are very long-winded. But as you can see, that is my passion coming through. So with that said, I think that we will move into meeting with Kristen. Kristen is a certified vet technician at the Columbus Countryside Veterinary Clinic. And Kristen actually worked with us on a job shadow experience. So the student is interested in working with animals, but isn't sure what capacity. I believe this student thinks they could probably be a vet tech, but I don't think that their skills necessarily would be where they would need to be in order to be certified. So Kristen was able to come up with different tasks and different experiences for this individual to observe and watch and strengthen their interest in working with animals. So without further ado, Kristen is here live joining us. Thank you so much for your time. And Kristen, go ahead and take it away. I know we went a little bit into your time there, but about 8 minutes. And yeah, if there are any questions at the end, we'll get to those as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for this opportunity. Yes, you said I'm a certified veterinary technician. I'm the practice manager here at the Columbus Countryside Vet Clinic. We've had 2 students work with us, and I've loved having both of them. I love seeing them out in the community in different places, and it's nice to have our staff recognize them. It's nice for them to recognize us when they see us. It's been great. So things that we have had them do, we have had them do what I call some small tasks, but yet they're very important to our day-to-day, just getting things done. So even as simple as cutting forms and papers that we use daily. We have medications that we can dispense that we dispense single doses. They come in a multi-dose, and we have them cut them apart and get them ready for us to sell. We have tags that we have them put S hooks on and get prepared so that it's easier for the doctor and technician teams to utilize those tags. We had them, we have X-ray radiation monitoring badges that we have to wear, and we would have them switch those out for us quarterly as they were able to. We also would have them, and this was probably the most fun for them, we would have them socialize our boarding cats. And sometimes we had some really nice cats. Sometimes we had some kitties that weren't as fond of any human. But there were times where they actually kind of developed a little special bond with some of the cats that maybe others weren't able to connect with as well. So that was really cool to see. One of the students, we also had we had her watch some surgeries. So she has grown up on a farm, lives on a farm yet, has watched a lot of things on the farm. And so she had a very strong interest in also seen some small animal surgeries, and we were able to let her go in and observe those, and she was very appreciative. And it was a wonderful experience for the doctor and technician team to be able to explain what they were doing, and the reasoning why, and a lot of the medical things behind what they were doing. So it was just a great experience all around for each of them. So yeah, so that was really cool. Things that you know, employment skills. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that the things that I felt were the small, maybe insignificant tasks that I felt like I should be able to come up with bigger, better tasks to have them do, but just having them do even those things that we were able to do helped a ton. And it was just rewarding to be able to see them accomplish them, do them well. One of the individuals, we also even tried to engage in a little more reception type duties. So we had them try to help type a Word document, and they did fantastic. That was not something that they, when we asked if it was something they were able to do effectively, they said yes. They do it at home. And so we set up the guidelines of what we wanted with the document. It was a table, and typing the information, and bolding the appropriate places, and doing special things within the document. And they did a fantastic job, and I think they were surprised. And the teacher that came with, they were very pleasantly surprised as well, because they weren't aware that that was something that they could do either. So it was great all around for everybody. So let's see, things that we did, modifications, accommodations for them. So space in our clinic is really tight, and it's actually gotten much tighter right now. We had a remodeling project, and our waiting and reception area got smaller. So when they were working with us, we set up a card table in our reception area, and that became their work area, just because we have a lot of staff members and not a lot of room in general. And that worked out fantastic for them to work. It was kind of their own private workspace. We just kept it set up, and every week they came in and did their job, and then got to at least move around by socializing with the cats, or watching a surgery or a procedure. So excuse me. Let's see, what are some of the challenging things? I think for me, it was just, again, feeling like I wanted to find something that was more engaging, or week to week coming up with maybe slightly different tasks, so that I didn't want it to feel boring or repetitive for them. Although I know in real work life, those are the things that we have to do too. So there were a lot of those tasks that they did have to repeat. And, we just, continued to stress that these are very important tasks, and, stressed how they impacted us and made us perform better, and how they helped with that. The most rewarding thing, I was just building that rapport with them. I loved greeting them when they came in, kind of catching up each week with them to say, hey, how how's it been since we saw each other last, and let them start working on their tasks, and I would chat with them while they continued to work, and so that was good. They, you know, they were building that that ability to continue to work even though I was distracting them. So and it was just fun. They always seemed very excited to be here, always very happy, and we just developed a very nice rapport. So
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. It has been wonderful. And I know at the beginning it was hard because it was like, well, wait, what are we going to do? We're not sure, but we worked together
yeah,
so well and came up with creative new things. And I like your point of saying what I thought were the small tasks and maybe insignificant in my mind are not insignificant when it comes to the big picture. And I think that that's something very important for any employers or partners to hear, is that the little things can be the big things, and we just have to start small. And then once we realize each student's capability, then we can cater the jobs to them. So thank you so much. I hope someday we get to work together again. We're not currently working together right now, but it has been a wonderful partnership, and I appreciate everything that you have done for our program and speaking with us tonight. So thank you so much.
thank you. And yes, we look forward to, you know, trying to figure out space-wise what we can do.
Mhm.
And
Well,
because
there will be many students in the future who have interest with animals. So
awesome. Yeah. And yeah, we're having a little more construction done. So yes, we're continuing to work through some of our own little things. But yes, I've been making little lists of you know, when can we get somebody back and what can they
Mhm.
do and all those good things. So yes, we've been very pleased having
Awesome.
them with us. Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. So our last presenter is also going to be a recording. Her name is Amanda. She is the Columbus Public Library Director, and she has had multiple experiences employing and also providing volunteer experience for individuals with disabilities. So please enjoy her presentation. I'm moving kind of quickly because I want to be conscientious of your time and get out right at 7 o'clock, and make sure if there's any questions at the end, we can address those. So enjoy, Amanda.
All right. Hello. My name is Jalea Henderson. As you know, I am the transition coordinator for the Columbus School District, and I am the co-host with Tim Markle of our Transition Talks Tuesdays. And this particular evening, we are going to be meeting with a variety of business owners and business employees who have partnered with the Columbus Transition Program to help our students gain valuable employment skills. So joined with me today is Amanda Wakeman from the Columbus Public Library. She is the library director, and she has a great background with working with people with disabilities and currently employs one of my students. And so we're going to get to hear from Amanda today on her experiences working with this population. And I'm so excited because she's wonderful. And with that, I'm going to mute myself. And Amanda, whenever you're ready.
All right. So as Jalea said, my name is Amanda Wakeman, and I am currently the director at Columbus Public Library. Prior to coming here, I was the director at Jane Morgan Memorial Library in Cambria. In both roles, I have worked with different transition programs with students that turned into employees for us at both places. In Cambria, I had the unique experience of coming in and having a volunteer already in place who had some physical disability, and that particular person had actually been at a couple different locations, and they had actually been placed into a factory, which was not a good fit for them. And then they were placed into a nursing home, which was also not a good fit for them. They were doing activities with residents at the nursing home. And I know they were feeling pretty low that they weren't going to be able to find a position for themselves. And then the program had come to the library in Cambria and said, you know, would this be a fit? And we're like, I guess we'll find out. And it ended up working out great. That particular employee has been there for 5 years now. When I was there, they did everything. I always joke like, oh, I don't know. I didn't do that. That's what I have him for. Because they were so gifted and loved, you know, every part of that job. And I think that that'll be a lifetime job for them. I was really happy to work there. And then I had another volunteer start in Cambria who started when they were in high school. They needed some just some volunteer hours, way to get out and meet people and have a little bit of experience. And they volunteered at the library. And then I made the transition to the Columbus Public Library. And it just so happened that that same person was part of the Columbus Transition Program. So she started volunteering at the Columbus Library. And since then, over the last few months, we've made the transition into employment here, which has been such a great blessing for us. We didn't have to create a position. The page position was already a position that existed here at the library. And so it was just hiring for it, which has been absolutely wonderful. I feel, you know, on a weekly basis, it's been adding so much to what we do because it's taking some of the stuff off of our plate, which has been really important. That we don't have our programming staff doing the shelving and the pulling and the organizing and stuff like that. So it's not like it's, you know, just adding a position to add a position. It's been something that's really benefited us, which I think every business can benefit from. Yeah, so very excited about that. Sorry. So I know here, like I said, the individual we have working here, we also work with another program that volunteers every week. And we are a small library with a small staff. So there's a lot of things we don't have time to always do. You know, when we're helping patrons at the desk, we don't have time to always be off pulling the books or putting stuff away or even tidying up. So having people in that position is essential to what we do every day and gives us time to serve our patrons the best we can, which is great. I know one of the questions I had was what is challenging about it? And I guess I haven't found a lot of challenges with our employment and our volunteers at all. It's been a really great fit for us. I think, you know, with any new employee, the first couple of weeks, learning the routines and the rules and how things work is sometimes it takes some time, but I mean, it hasn't been any different than any other employee that we've ever had. It's been a pretty seamless transition.
What are some, sorry, Amanda, what are some of the jobs that the volunteers do versus the jobs that the page does?
Okay, so our volunteers are usually definitely led more by a supervisor that comes in and helps them to do it. Our big thing we have to do every day is we do something called the pick list. And our pick list is we have a list of all the books that other libraries want that have to go to other patrons at other libraries. And so usually our volunteers will kind of cut that up, divvy it out, and they will go and get those books. For the page position, it's printed and sat on the counter. And when our page gets here, it's her responsibility to find it and get to work and go find that entire list and bring it back. We also don't have our volunteers do any shelving, just because in a library, if a book is shelved incorrectly, it's lost forever. But our page does do shelving because they are very familiar with the library and they know where everything belongs. So that's kind of there's definitely more responsibility put on our pages than our volunteers. Yeah.
Oh, I have other questions.
Good, please, thank you.
In terms of your current page, so my student, what are some accommodations that you and your staff have made in order for her to be successful? I know that she has specific challenges with communication and some anxiety, social anxiety, which has definitely improved, which you can speak on.
Yeah.
And then also just in general, helping her with some of her obstacles or challenges to be more successful in the position.
Okay. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is she struggles with remembering people's names. So one of the big accommodations has been she has a sheet that has everybody's picture on with their name on. We all also wear name tags, so I think that helps as well. I know when she first started, she's pretty introverted, but I feel over time she's definitely become more comfortable with everybody. And I know my staff, we're all talkers, and she's kind of fallen into that, like, oh, I'm going to chat for a while, because that's what we all do. So I feel like, and like I said, with anybody who starts a new job, it takes time to get comfortable. It takes time to learn everybody. It takes time to know who everyone is. And I think with the accommodation of having those pictures and the name tags, that has really, really helped a lot. Yeah, and like I said, we're definitely in a place now, a few months in, where everybody's very comfortable, and she's just a member of our staff. It's no different than anybody else.
Absolutely. And she is working with DVR, so the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. So eventually, I mean, she had a coach a couple times check in with you, but eventually that has faded. And now she's able to do the job independently with the support of the staff. And that's where we really want to get is having specific staff members from the transition program or from DVR is essential at the beginning to get everybody to kind of do that warm handoff. But then once those people that are actually her coworkers become sort of the mentors, that's really what we want, is we want all of the colleagues to be working together to create those relationships. So I've definitely seen that happen in that case.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess the only other thing I wanted you to just kind of touch on is just the rewarding, experience, beneficial experience between both of you. And then also, what would you say to a business who is hesitant about a volunteer experience or even employing an individual with a disability? What would be your advice, or what has worked for you?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's been, obviously we got a great employee, and that's always, what you're looking for at any business or any different organization. I know having a volunteer come in, when we hired her, we knew exactly what we were getting, and we knew at that point, like, she fit exactly what we wanted. So going from volunteer to employee is something that you don't have the benefit of doing when you're just hiring employees. I mean, you can hire somebody thinking they're going to be great, and it doesn't work out. Where with this employee, it's like, we already knew her. We already knew she does a great job. We were ready. I mean, if anybody's hesitant, just know there is a position for them in your business. Even if you think that you're not coming up with it, you don't have to make up something new. This is somebody who, any of them, I mean, but especially here for us, this is somebody who's coming in that has so many gifts and talents that you might not have. And there's a place there. I mean, and you don't have to worry. It's just another person coming in. And like I said, it's more fearful when you're hiring somebody that you don't have experience with, So yeah, I mean, for us, it's only been amazing, only been beneficial. I hope that our employee would say the same about us, that it's been amazing and beneficial, and we're happy every day. I know this particular employee, like I said, I've known her for a couple of years. It's to the point where I don't even really see her, because she doesn't rely on me to lead her. She comes, she does her job. She's been here for half an hour. I haven't seen her yet, because she just comes and gets to work and does her job. She's just our employee. It's
Awesome.
been great.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. And I think that focusing on that transition from from a volunteer or a job shadow into paid competitive employment is really important, and something that I think that we forget the actual, benefit of all of that, because having students try different places would really be able to focus on their strengths and their interests, their preferences. And then it takes some of that pressure off the employer to feel like they need to hire them right away, because it needs to be a beneficial fit for both the employer and the employee. So we really, we really appreciate everything that you have done for our program, Amanda, and your willingness to partner with us and to be such a crucial part of learning these invaluable employment skills for this population. So I have been so fortunate to work with the Columbus community, and you are one of my favorite people to work with. So I really appreciate you so much. And thank you so much for taking your time to speak with us today.
Not a problem at all. I was happy to be here and happy to share experiences.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Amanda, and thank you for everybody for tuning in. That is all we have, Tim.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for us tonight? I just had a little boy slam his finger in the door as he was trying to get to me in my room. So does anyone have any questions for me tonight before we let you go enjoy the rest of your night? Maybe put you. Not hearing any?
I'm not seeing any in the chat except for a big old thank you. I appreciate this. This is an original. We have not done an employer panel in 5 years of Transition Talks Tuesday. So thank you for that, Julia. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I'll be sending out an evaluation form, just a short feedback form. Please go enjoy your night before the sun sets on us all. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.